Cambodia's integration into the global arena began in 2025. Just a year ago, people associated Cambodia with Africa, and there were a lot of questions about where it was located. Then, exactly a year has passed. Today, a huge number of investors know about Cambodia, and now together with you, we will try to put the pieces of the puzzle together so that it becomes clearer for everyone who is being presented with new opportunities today, specifically investment opportunities in the country. We will assemble the puzzle like this and examine each piece in detail. Let's get acquainted. My name is Jana. I am a representative of MERU Estate directly in Cambodia. Be sure to watch our episode until the end, and you will 100% be able to say the puzzle is complete. So let's go through the most important factors and analyze them in more detail. Logistics Hub. What is a logistics hub? It is the RCEP Logistics Center. 10 ASEAN countries and 5 of the world's largest economies. And today, Cambodia serves as the very center, since it is geographically located in the heart of Southeast Asia. Today, it is positioning itself as the largest logistics hub. A powerful preparatory path has been completed. Let's take a look at what a logistics center is. It consists of, first, let's look at the airport, which actually began its construction back in 2020. By the year 2025, the first international airport, Secha, our well-known airport in the capital city of Phnom Penh, was officially put into operation. I also want to point out that it occupies quite a very large area. If you look at the map, you will see that this area is almost identical in size to the capital city itself. Its main function is to serve as an integral part of the global transport and logistics chain, often referred to as the modern Chinese Silk Road, which first began to be established back in 2013, and it now includes 151 countries. Can you imagine? In other words, this is the Silk Road of the 21st century. And today, Cambodia is precisely the central point that connects the Pacific region. The first airport, as I already mentioned, began its construction in 2020. By September 9th, 2025, the first 2 passenger terminals will be fully completed, meaning a major shift in terms of total passenger flow. And specifically in terms of passenger flow. By the year 2030, when it is fully operational, it will be able to handle up to 30 million passengers. And by 2050, this impressive number will increase to 50 million. This is a very high figure for such a relatively small country. Once it is finally completed, in 2030, with the addition of cargo terminals, it will rank as the 9th largest international airport in the world. Therefore, it can already be confidently said that based solely on having the largest airport, Cambodia is joining the ranks of economic phenomena such as Singapore and Shenzhen. Our well-known Dubai is another example. This is precisely the reason why the second logistics center has already started its initial phase of construction. And now, thanks to the involvement of major global powers like Japan and China, it is currently undergoing a period of remarkably significant expansion, with several brand new terminals being introduced. Construction will soon be almost entirely complete, with 4 of these terminals already in full operation. By 2028, it will also be included in the list or become an analog of the 4th largest seaport in the world, Shenzhen. Well, if anyone doesn't know about Shenzhen, be sure to take a moment to search for it on YouTube. It's an incredible global economic phenomenon that over the past 20 years has become one of the world's leading and most advanced logistics centers. Another important detail that is already taking shape now is it is planned, meaning there is a master plan in place. In general, there are a lot of logistics hubs, but we will focus on the main logistics operations. This is ground logistics. This is a modern high-speed railway line, which is designed to serve 2 primary functions. It will handle both passenger travel and heavy-duty freight transportation. The route itself will officially start in Cambodia, beginning right from the seaport terminal, and will continue on across the landscape to its destination. The route will go through Laos, India, and China. Thus, densely and heavily populated countries like India and China will have the unprecedented and significant opportunity to receive all their goods at a much faster and more accelerated pace. And accordingly, it will be quite inexpensive for everyone involved. There will be absolutely no restrictive sanctions whatsoever. I can say that right away. Why? Because Cambodia has now successfully established 86 special economic zones, which provide a significant opportunity for preferential taxation and accordingly favorable customs duties. This means it will be essentially tax-free, so to speak, for all logistics operations. A great number of logistics routes are being developed within the country itself. As of right now, in 2024, major construction work has already begun on the largest billion-dollar project valued at $16 billion invested by China. Mainly, this is the Funan Techo Canal, which will connect the nation's capital city of Phnom Penh directly to the sea. This is a massive artificial waterway, and they say that by 2027, it will be almost fully operational. It will serve both passenger transport and cargo logistics services for the region. So, of course, there is a lot more to discuss, but right now we are focusing on the main factors. And if we talk about air routes and access to Cambodia, a new airport has already been built in the city of Sihanoukville, and it was completed in 2024. A new airport has also been built in the tourist zone, which has given the whole world the opportunity to fly directly here. To Angkor Wat and visit historical sites, a new airport was completed in 2023. Therefore, the logistics for passenger flow have already been established. A certain conclusion. Cambodia's integration has already taken place. Cambodia has opened its doors to the world. Today, thanks to the International Techo Airport, or TIA as we call it now, has direct flights. And in the coming year, 2025 to 2026, Cambodia is signing agreements with 170 countries. Direct flights. That is, flights to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Istanbul are already open, and I believe Russia will be connected soon as well. If we draw a conclusion about economic growth, then accordingly, Cambodia is now opening its doors to many countries. It is now possible to establish both logistics chains for cargo flow, so to speak, as well as for passenger flow directly. Why? Because Cambodia is also one of the four primary factors I mentioned. It is the consistent influx of international tourists, which will bring significant revenue to the country. Well, let us briefly recall Egypt with its Egyptian pyramids. The second factor we want to emphasize is the primary investment hub in Cambodia already in 2024. You can find this data on the IMF website. It became the leader among the top 10 developing countries in the world by the FDI index. This FDI index includes the most essential indicators. And for many investors, these are the indicators on which they base their decision to enter a country or not. A steady 6% GDP growth, which has been consistently maintained for the last 10 years, and remarkably low inflation. One of the important points, and I want to emphasize this again, is why it is so low here, only 3%. And accordingly, foreign direct investment amounts to a total of 393% invested in the country and 110% invested directly in global projects, specifically in global projects that are purposefully invested in the country. As a direct result of this, Cambodia gains access to truly enormous resources to develop at a significantly accelerated pace. Furthermore, this is also one of the most important conclusions and key indicators for potential investors. Right now, this represents the ideal entry point, and literally within the next 10 years for some, it will already be a strategic exit point with exceptionally good multiples. Not just good, but quite significant multiples, far more than just simple percentages. For many, this is a clear indicator of risk minimization for their investments. Why? Because when we talk about the world of investments, well, investments always involve certain risks. Here, you need to learn how to manage investment risks, effectively minimize them, and fully understand the specific economy you are investing your money in. And today, Cambodia has provided the whole world with just such an opportunity. A great number of our developers have promotional banners that state, if you missed out on Hong Kong, if you missed out on Shenzhen 20 or 30 years ago. And we also add, if you missed out on Dubai 20 years ago, you are very welcome here in Cambodia. Here is the main takeaway for many people. You shouldn't draw direct comparisons between Cambodia and the tourist sectors or resort areas of countries we already know, especially those that are already well established and heavily branded. This is yet another clear and compelling indicator of serious investments and serious high-yield investment opportunities. And for many, the only real comparison for Cambodia today is Dubai. Another important indicator is the low inflation rate. Let me add to that. Since we've started talking about the economy, inflation today is the scourge of our, so to speak, new decade from 2020 to 2030 because it has affected many countries. And even in many historically stable and developed countries that haven't seen inflation for about 40 years, we can now see just how seriously it is severely and negatively impacting the economies of many nations. Okay? Cambodia is particularly notable and distinguished for maintaining its low, a rate of 3% for the past 20 years. For one reason, Cambodia stands as the only fully dollarized economy in the entire Asian region. And this essentially means that when we choose to invest our money there, the investor is already effectively minimizing their potential risks. This is because there will no longer be any significant currency volatility caused by internal economic indicators. In other words, this is already a form of protection. Well, protection for the investment capital that is being put into the country. Another important point, as I always say, the cherry on top for the investor is confidentiality. We have a unified reporting standard called CRS, a single reporting standard. And Cambodia, in fact, is not part of CRS, but is among the 7 non-CRS countries. What does that mean? 7 non-CRS? These are 7 countries that have not signed the memorandum on providing reporting. For many, this is, it's a serious indicator nowadays for deciding whether to invest in a country. Now, for the third factor, as we often like to say, there are 4 pillars. Yes, they are very stable ones. Logistic Hub, Invest Hub. And now I will give you information about the Digital Hub. The Digital Hub is about 2024, 2 years. Negotiations went on for almost 2 years, and Cambodia is signing a $1 billion agreement with Singapore. This is also reinforced by the general plan for the country's digitalization development until 2050. Since in Cambodia, it's clear, yes, it's a third world country. Almost nothing had been created. And even when we arrived here, we encountered the fact that there weren't even any government websites or documentation. As of today, this needs to be done urgently because logistics is about data that needs to be processed quickly. It's about new technologies. And Singapore is exactly the country that has created all of this and is now ready to transfer everything to Cambodia to invest in it. Yes, meaning not only money, billions of dollars, but also its new technologies. Just like China, practically, yes, is investing a lot of technologies. And in Cambodia, an ecosystem is being created, both a financial ecosystem and a natural ecosystem. Therefore, Cambodia in the future, just so you understand, will be an ecological zone. Because why am I emphasizing this? Cambodia will develop on par, meaning it will reach the same level as its regional partners, such as Singapore. In line with this vision, a program has also been created for this purpose, a program specifically from the Prime Minister and the national government. By 2030, Prime Minister Hun Manet has set such an ambitious, I would even say visionary goal to elevate his entire population up to a middle-income level. And then by the year 2050, the goal is to reach a high-income level. For me, quite honestly, I find this vision to be truly amazing. Why? Because Singapore, Dubai, and Shenzhen were able to do this, where the population's income grew from $200 to $300 to $3,000. Because the average figure for Asia, the minimum, is $3,000. In Singapore, for example, every 6th person is a millionaire. In conclusion, Cambodia is creating exactly such an ecosystem for investors, where they are protected and where their valuable assets are safeguarded. Investments are transparent, there is no corruption. Yes, because Singapore, as we know, has practically eradicated corruption and as a result, attracted billions in investment for the development of its technologies. After a significant period of time has passed, Cambodia is now following a very similar developmental path. And it gives investors from all around the world the unique and valuable opportunity to feel very comfortable here. This is exactly what we mean by the minimization of risks. This is digitalization, which fully and transparently demonstrates all reporting. Yet another crucial factor, the 4th such indicator, which is exceptionally significant specifically for Cambodia itself, is the tourism hub, the factor of developing a tourism hub. Because in Cambodia, it's not just some ancient temples scattered across the landscape, but rather a massive temple complex that includes 2,000 temples. This is an engineering structure from the 12th century, which was constructed across the vast territory of the Great Chimeran civilization. By the way, I would like to note that this territory included Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand. So imagine in the 12th century, Cambodia, the great Sumerian civilization, was a fairly large territory. Angkor Wat, this is an engineering structure that today can only be compared to the Egyptian pyramids. Scientists are studying it and still don't know how it worked. In other words, we can't relate it to our reality. How could something like this have happened in the 12th century? Accordingly, individuals who have a keen interest in history and those who are interested in the tourist flow that is being created, it will also foster significant regional development and contribute billions of dollars into the country's economy. I also want to add an important point. Cambodia is not just about today. It has really reached the point where a bet has been placed on it. If we look back 20 years ago, or not even 20, but actually 30 years ago, Hun Sen, the prime minister who began to develop a much more stable political and economic country, over those 30 years, he has consistently demonstrated just how stable it is. You know, this is a huge figure for many countries. Why? Because puzzles, as I say, yes, at first we put together puzzles, the puzzle came together. This is the most important thing. A remarkably stable political environment, an ideally situated central geographic location, the most spiritual people, and a truly unique mentality. To this day, when Cambodia was truly chosen, well, you know, it certainly was not a matter of mere coincidence at all. I also want to strongly emphasize that this is probably the very land that possesses these incredible resources, which originally belonged to the great Khmer civilization. This is a profoundly significant place of power that truly provides a certain sustainable growth and a magnificent new rebirth for the entire country. It truly feels to me that this is the moment when all the pieces of the puzzle have finally come together. Stay with us on our channel. Be sure to subscribe, like, and leave your comments below. You can definitely expect many more new insights about Cambodia from us very soon. This was Jana Miru and stayed with you.